Welcome to the Early Wedge Tuesday Best Bet Show. I am your host, Eric Cohen. A lot to talk about this week after a boisterous weekend out at the Phoenix Open. It will be story time with EC later in the show to tell you how someone lost me money and therefore has now made it onto the no bet list. You can take your guesses now, but let's introduce the stars of the show, someone who is depressed about his team's result on Sunday night and was up at the crack of dawn this morning hosting PGA Tour radio on Sirius XM. It is the great Jason Sobel. We have a man who is disappointed that he's a Steelers fan and they will never once again be in the Super Bowl. It is Patrick McDonald. And then a guy who is never disappointed, always happy. It is Sia Nejad. Gentlemen.
What's going on? What's with the animosity against me and Sobel?
Yeah, I mean, noticeable.
Listen, how much you paying him, Sia?
About $5.
Sobel, you told us this before the show. I know you don't want to go to details, but you had a really nice DFS weekend, so congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks. I know we don't usually talk DFS. We talk betting on the show. I will say, for my money, so to speak, a golf DFS sweat over the final few holes of a tournament like we had on Sunday is about as fun as gambling gets.
Oh, yeah.
I know, like, even if you've got a bet, and all my buddies, I was sitting in my club, we had a Super Bowl scramble, and then we're waiting for the game to start. I'm sitting there watching the WM Phoenix Open on my phone and watching all these different permutations, and things are bouncing up and down by a lot, and everyone's like, oh, who do you need to win? And I'm like, well, I need these 6 guys, I need these other 6 to go away, and that would be great. And so if you don't understand it, it's tough to figure out. If you get what's going on, honestly, a golf sweat with some DFS stuff like that's right near the top, it doesn't get any better.
EC, I had a reasonably popular tweet from just like 2 weeks ago saying PGA DFS is the best DFS that's out there. And I there's so many reasons for it that we don't need to get into right now. But which, by the way, we do this for an hour. If somebody has DFS questions for us, we can answer those as well. But yeah, Jason, great stuff in DFS last week.
Yeah, and I'm the moron that entered a contest going up against you two in DFS, just like throwing $100 down the toilet for the season. So there you have it. Hey, Patrick, I want to start with you. So there's a guy on the Discord, on the SportsLine Discord, who after Thursday said, after Scotty Scheffler shot a 73, said that he only cared about the Super Bowl and was not going to make the cut. Can you give advice going forward to people that actually think Scotty Scheffler is going to miss cuts in non-major events this season?
Advice to those people? Are we talking life advice or golf betting advice or what? Because it seems like they need a lot of help at this point. I mean, the guy's not going to finish outside the top 10. It's almost a year we're approaching this. So it doesn't matter.
Especially at a track where he has won twice before and has a great track record. You knew Scotty Scheffler was going to come back. I gave it out in the Discord that he would go below 66.5. That was fairly easy money on Friday. Patrick, you said the other week that Scotty Scheffler is going to win at least 10 times this year. Do you stand by it?
Look, we took a hit. We needed this one to get above the trajectory, I think, but we're still batting 500, 50%. So if he plays 20 tournaments this year, we are on pace for that. This week, obviously a big week. But even if you look at Scheffler's round, if you watched Scheffler's round, he played bad for an hour, just around the turn. It was just 1 hour. Before that, he was 2 under. He had an opportunity, middle of the fairway on 18, about to make the turn. Could have missed his spot by a couple inches, made bogey. Easily could have turned it 3 under. So even though he was not sharp, it really wasn't as bad as the 2 over made it seem.
Sobel, bigger choke on Sunday, Michael Thorbjornsen or Hideki Matsuyama?
Hideki. Look, Thorbjornsen, I loved what he said in the press conference afterwards, which was, no, I don't feel like I failed. I feel like I gained experience. And I have said for years, and I will continue to beat this drum, when a player gets into contention, whether it's a guy trying to win for the first time, a guy trying to win a major for the first time, experience matters. Getting into the heat of the battle will only sort of make you better moving forward. And so I think for a guy like Thorbjornsen, who's knocking on the door for his first win, it's a great attitude, great way to look at it. Hideki, been there, done that, should have done it this time, didn't get it done. I don't like using the C word, but that's about as close as it gets.
I was standing behind the 18th green. I'll tell that story a little bit later on. Sia, Chris Goddard. Let's talk about, you talk about clutch. He was in a bad spot on 18. It's an unbelievable shot in regulation out of the rough to hit it to 2 feet taps in for birdie. Then in the playoff, obviously hits a 22-footer for the win. Do we now have to consider Chris Gotterup an elite golfer for the rest of the season?
So we do a 2:30 pregame show on CBS Sports HQ that Patrick, you're a part of, I believe, and Jason Sobel, I've done it with you as well. And we talked about Chris Gotterup in that context. I actually think I was talking to Shane Bacon in that moment last Sunday where Gotterup was starting his round. And if I recall correctly, he started off his round like kind of slow. Like it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great by any means. And we talked about him in that context. Like this guy has a swagger and he's like starting to win. And it's not just like in 2026. I mean, we saw him at the Scottish Open last year. We saw what he did right after that at the Open Championship. And even after that, he was really clicking. And you notice when he kind of walks around, he has this confidence about him, this swagger about him. I don't know about elite because everybody defines elite in different ways. I don't think it's elite in like Scotty Rory territory. But I think he's knocking on the door of that second tier of golfer, maybe behind Tommy Fleetwood, of course. But that, once you get to like that, I don't know, whatever in any given signature event, the guy we consider 6 through 15, we would have never thought of Chris Gotterup in that context. And now we kind of have to take it seriously.
Let me just add, easy if I could. It feels like we're at this point with Gotterup where we're like, man, this guy's so good. He could be a top 5 player in the world pretty soon.
Yeah.
And yet, he's already a top 5 player in the world. He's literally number 5 in the world ranking. We can say what you will about the world rankings and Bryson and Rahm not getting points previously for live events and all that kind of stuff. But that said, he is officially a top 5 player in the world. It just feels like it's happened so quickly. I'm not saying he's not part of that elite crew, but you can't say he's not elite. He's number 5.
Patrick, is it just me or do he and Patrick Reed look really like a doppelganger of each other? Gotterup.
He gets Brooks Koepka a lot too.
Yeah,
I thought he looks like Patrick Reed, and both those guys, by the way, are playing out of their minds.
A little husky. Yeah. Is that what we're getting at?
No, they just eat the hat, the way he wears the hat, the walk.
Maybe it's the year of the Husky Boys, which I'd be about. I mean, we like always do this after someone goes on a run. It's like, what could he do? Mm-hmm. Who knows, right? Like anything could happen, but having that elite skill set off the tee is just so advantageous. And I've been pleasantly surprised and impressed about his touch on and around the greens. Like what he did on Sunday around the greens, some of the chips and pitches he hit, especially on the front nine to like kind of keep him alive before he went on that run, were next level.
Yeah, great point. Let's get to the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. It is storyline time. And for once, we're going to start with Jason Sobel. Football's over. I guess in a way that's disappointing, but in a way, here come the big boys all together in an event.
Yeah, I sort of said this 2 weeks ago at Torrey Pines before the Farmers, but no football now. We're done with football for good. We're not even leading into the Super Bowl. And you've got a stacked field, first of 8 signature events, Scotty, Rory, all the players that everybody knows on one of the most iconic pieces of property in the entire world, let alone just golf. And so I think this is going to be a heck of a week. I hope that some of the big names are on there on Sunday afternoon. This is a big week for golf, big week for the PGA Tour, big week for some of those players. And I think this is where everything really gets kickstarted, where not just the players starting to gear up towards the Masters. We're less than 60 days away from being in Augusta, but also the fans are kind of like, okay, football's in the rearview mirror. We've got the NFL draft in a few months, maybe like the NBA, maybe you're into NHL, the Olympics are going on, but for the most part, you're like, I'm switching to golf. I'm a golf fan from here on in for a few months, and this is where people really get fired up, and I am very fired up for this one.
Patrick, I'm fired up to watch Scotty Scheffler win his second tournament of the season this Sunday. You want to talk about his iron play and his wedge play specifically?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a super small sample size, but you look at where it kind of like where he lost some strokes maybe on Sunday when he played great, still 64. The iron play wasn't vintage, typical high level Scotty Scheffler, where he wasn't always pin high like we see Scotty Scheffler throughout the week. And that's kind of what held him back, I thought, there at the WM Phoenix Open. And then you dive into this week, 50% of the approach shots are going to come from 50 to 150 yards, a lot of wedges this week. And Scheffler is a guy who's typically in that bucket. He averages 15 feet in terms of proximity right now. Super small sample size, mind you. He's around 20 feet. He mentioned those fine margins at the American Express. If it's a contest to see who can hit the most shots inside 20 feet or to 20 feet, Scotty Scheffler is going to win that. But with soft conditions, rain in the forecast, maybe some weather there on Sunday too. I'm keen in on Scheffler's wedges in particular. If they're sharp, he wins by 3.
There you go. Sia, you and I love to play the without Scheffler market, but now there's another catch that you discovered.
Yeah, and it wasn't even me that discovered it. I want to give a shout out to, I think it was Riku Mukherjee who tweeted this out to me about how now there is a without Scotty market for DFS, which I just find very intriguing. I'm not even that interested in playing it, at least not this week. And for the record, the contests that they have for that are underwhelming. They're just kind of trotting it out, so I'm not going to criticize them for it. But I think it's really interesting that we continue to talk about without Scotty. I continue to bet without Scotty. And oh, by the way, last week he didn't win. I'm even more intimidated by Scotty Scheffler after what he did rounds 2, 3, and 4. I'm even more inclined to bet without Scotty. But with all that said, we're going to start to probably see, perhaps at majors and maybe the rest of the way, DraftKings putting out without Scotty in the DFS market, which I just find very, very interesting. Now, it's a completely different analysis in DFS because you got to factor in ownership and spiking a tournament and all those things, which make me more inclined to fade Scotty over there rather than the betting market. But I just want to say that Scotty has been so dominant that now we're breaking the rules on DFS as well, because this has never happened before.
I'm telling you what, to me on DraftKings, you can't play Scotty Scheffler at 14,000. You can't put together a good lineup with Scotty Scheffler at 14K.
Well, what's interesting too, EC, is that he's trending to be close to 50% owned. And the reason for that is because people are willing to build those lineups knowing that it's a signature event and there's no cut. So they're willing to do that barbell thing where you're playing guys at the top, playing guys at the bottom. But with all that said, I probably in my big lineup, I probably won't play Scotty. I'll probably take that chance. But it's just something, it's interesting because it's a no-cut event. So people will be more inclined to play him. And that the game theory comes in even more there.
So my storyline revolves around the weather. I get to play weatherman for the week. I looked, as Patrick referenced, I looked at it on Sunday and the weather looks gloomy. So does that favor the Europeans? I have to ask the experts. Sobel, what do you think? I mean, 15 to 20 mile an hour steady winds, rain on Sunday. This feels like a European golfer is going to give Scotty a run on Sunday.
So upon first blush, I would say, Shane Lowry was one of the guys I'm going to talk about on the show. Yeah. Won an Open Championship in pouring rain. He's from Northern Ireland. Like that could work from Ireland. That could work for him. I spoke with Shane a couple years ago about playing in the rain. He's like, oh, I hate it. I'm a Florida guy now. Good. I hate playing in bad weather. So my point is that 20, 30 years ago, EC, you're right that the Europeans would come over here, and if it's bad weather, they have an advantage. Now they all live in Florida or Arizona. They have assimilated. It just doesn't really matter. Find a guy who's a mutter, but it doesn't necessarily matter where he came from, where he lives. It's just a matter of like sort of that internal fortitude that he's got to play in the bad weather.
So, Patrick, you talked about Scotty on Sunday. If the weather is bad and it's blowing 20 and it's raining sideways, does that change maybe a little bit of your thoughts on Scotty winning by 3?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Put him anywhere. He's going to win. Except last week. He's going to win at a 50% clip anywhere.
And by the way, he very well, I mean, if he makes a putt on 18, knowing what we know now, he would have been in a playoff. And who would you have taken? Hideki with a driver that couldn't go straight, Goddard or Scotty Scheffler. We're all betting Scotty Scheffler at that point.
Yeah.
In a playoff. Yeah.
And it's not like, the dude won the Open. He's the reigning champion golfer of the year.
That's very true. Good point. Sia, normally we go at this point to FRLs, but of course, I don't like the Pro-Am format. I don't like the multiple course format. This is the last week we'll have to deal with that this season. But unfortunately, that means that we have no FRLs. So where can people find your picks since we don't have them on this show?
Yeah, just to qualify, no FRLs for now. And that's I think in part because of the course rotation, of course, but also because, we're on the West Coast. Tee times are coming out a little later. And for whatever reason, they didn't get them out in time, or at least not in time for this show. They should know that the early wedge is at 7 o'clock, but apparently they don't care about that. I suspect first round leaders will be out later tonight or tomorrow morning, and most major books will have the courses, the two split up between Spyglass and Pebble Beach, in which case, on the early edge tomorrow morning on this SportsLine YouTube channel, I'll have some first round leaders for everybody.
So now, while you guys are doing a great job posting in the comments, please like this video as we go to break, because coming up next, we're going to go around the world with some picks, including the best of the worst. Wait till you see this after we hear from one of our sponsors.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Patrick, I'm going to start with you on matchups. So we have a guy in Hideki Matsuyama who couldn't hit a driver straight for an entire round and probably still doesn't have much confidence. And then a guy in Russell Henley who's on my no-bet list. What do we do here?
Well, I mean, Russell Henley is going to win this year again, too. So you might as well cross his name off.
Okay, fair enough.
You go with Russell Henley, who this course on paper is tailor-made to. You're talking to the driver of the Rust Bus here. And so you're getting him at even money over Hideki Matsuyama, who probably going to put a new shaft on that driver and try to figure some things out. Ultimate grinder. I've no doubt he'll figure it out eventually. I just think coming off that kind of stress over the weekend to a place like this, I'd much rather take Henley, especially at even money. And then I'm taking Ricky Fowler even money over Minwoo Lee. I don't know why Fowler has such a poor history here. It's probably because it's a Pro-Am and he's trying to swoon some sponsorships or whatever. He's kind of taken one eye off the ball. He's got a big pairing this week with Condoleezza Rice, obviously. So former Browns head coach candidate back in the day. But he's playing some really good golf. 2 top 20 finishes in a row. The driver's in a really good spot. He's putting with confidence again, like vintage Ricky Fowler. Over Minwoo Lee, who's just he could do anything. We have no idea what this guy's going to do this week. I know he's played decent last week, but give me a Fowler at even money over Mini as well.
Sobel, you're going with the Fade Hideki train here, but this is pretty good value from a guy in Justin Rose who has won here at Pebble Beach and just absolutely dominated the field at Torrey Pines 2 weeks ago.
If they're going to make the wrong player the favorite, I'm going to take the guy who's the dog in this one. And Justin Rose, like I said, he should not be the underdog in this matchup. This should be something like minus 120, minus 125 in favor of Rose, even though Hideki played well last week. We saw that he was holding it together with duct tape and Band-Aids by the end of that thing, and it all fell apart. So Justin Rose, great record here, a win, a third, and an 11th in the last 3 years, coming off a win 2 weeks ago. I will say about Justin Rose, for as much as I'm playing him in this matchup, and I do really like him, it feels like one of those trap games for Justin Rose and a little bit for Siwoo Kim as well. It feels like everything we look for when we do our research, when we start studying, we've got that intersection of course history and recent form. It literally couldn't get better for Justin Rose. Like everything's meeting up here and you're like, man, guy plays great at Pebble Beach. He's playing great right now. What could go wrong? Again, trap game. Think of it like college football. We played Alabama last week. We're playing Georgia next week. We're playing Kentucky this week. We should roll by 30. Doesn't always happen that way. We'll see. But I do like Rose over Hideki a lot. And Sepp Straka is a guy that I like. You mentioned the weather. I think Sepp's a little bit of a mutter. He's a guy that's pretty patient. He won, of course, a Pro-Am event at the American Express just a year ago. Sam Burns, haven't seen much from him that I've liked yet. Sepp Straka, other than the first couple of rounds at the Amex this year where he was coming off essentially 5 months off, other than the Hero World Challenge, didn't play well the first 2 rounds. Sepp's played pretty well. I think he's trending in the right direction. Really good ball striking on the weekend in Phoenix.
Fair enough. Sia, you talked about this play, Top Oceania, my favorite category of all the nationalities that they offer. Because remember, I didn't know what Oceania was until you taught me the other year. You gave this one out on the early edge this morning, but please refresh our memory for those who didn't see it.
Well, I'm just realizing that we call this the early edge in the morning for a reason, because BetMGM had this plus 120 line on Jason Day, and they had it listed as top Australasian, which is what they still have it listed as. But the problem is it's now even money instead of plus 120, because I think we moved the number, frankly. Jason Day, this shouldn't be plus 120, and frankly, plus 100 is actually fair, but I might even play this at minus 105, minus 110. It's Jason Day as top Oceania against Minwoo Lee and Ryan Fox. And first of all, just talking about caliber of golfer, I think it's safe to say that Jason Day is the cream of the crop there. But then you look at Jason Day's history at Pebble Beach, that's really speaking to me. You look at Jason Day's approach play as of late and what he can do with the putter and approach versus a guy like Minwoo Lee, who, granted, he might not spray it, he might club down off the tee, that he might not get into trouble there, but he's not exactly great on approach. He's great with the putter. He's great with the short game at times, but I just think this is the wrong number. By the way, FanDuel still has this at plus 115. If you want that number, that's still there. But Jason Day, top Oceania against Minwoo Lee and Ryan Fox, I think is a great look.
Guys, I found a bet where all three of these guys stink right now. They're horrendous. They aren't making cuts. They don't do well at this course, and that is the top South American market. So you have to pick one of three. I'm rolling with Emiliano Grillo over Nico Echeverria and Johnny Vegas, and you can get Emiliano at plus 125. These stats are ugly, guys. So Grillo was T14 here in 2024. He gained 4.5 on the greens while losing over 5 on approach, which is terrible. Johnny Vegas, 3 appearances here, has lost more than 10 strokes putting, and he hasn't made a cut in 2 tries this year. Nico's 0 for 3 in cuts this year, and he's losing strokes to the field in bunches. Grillo, I mean, he's 1 of 4 this year in making cuts with a T38 at Torrey Pine. I mean, these guys are terrible form, but you got to pick one of them. There's no cut here. Emiliano can get us a top 40 maybe. These other 2 guys are not going to do that. So we're going to take that at plus 125. And then I'm big on Victor Hovland this week. It was really impressive to me in Scottsdale last week. Has to beat to win top continental European. He has to beat Ludwig, Sepp Straka, Alex Noren, Steven Yeager, Sami Valimaki, and Matty Schmid. I mean, listen, he's gained more than 31 strokes combined tee to green over his last 4. The putting has always been a question mark, but gained nearly 4 last week. And he did win the 2018 U.S. Amateur at Pebble Beach. If that putter can continue to do something positive, not only do I think he will win top continental European, I think he can finish a lot higher than that. So we're rolling with Vic at plus 220 this week. All right, let's move on to finishing positions, a category where I, to be perfectly honest, have stunk this year. So I will I will defer to Patrick McDonald, who has a couple of top 20s for us.
Going back to Ricky. Top 20 plus 220, everything I said, just playing some really good golf. So hopefully the course history, that trend bucks this week. And then Matt McCarty, top 20 at plus 255. Missed the cut last week. Just didn't have a great ball striking week. It happens out there in Arizona. But before that, runner-up at the American Express, like Sobel said, another Pro-Am. So can deal with the slower conditions. Top 20 at the Farmers Insurance Open as well. And a guy who played his college golf in California. So I love these top 20s in a field of 80 with no cut. So I think those are pretty juicy.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
And this is for you, Patrick, and anybody else can weigh in. But because you're on Ricky, so I was on Ricky last week, and I was on Matt McNeely, 2 guys I'm not playing this week, but not because I don't like them. And I'm talking about the outright market. It's just because I don't see them winning in this field necessarily. As it pertains to Ricky, though, Patrick, you mentioned his history here. So obviously his recent history is really good, and he looks like a really good setup for this particular course. But his history here is really bad. Like, I'm looking the last 5 years only, but he also hasn't been very good over the last 5 years, with the exception of last year. How do you factor that in to, the course fit and the way his recent form with that course history? Because again, hasn't gained with the putter ever here.
Yeah, well, he's a POA guy, obviously born and raised in California. You look at his starts, 2010, 2012, early in his career, 21, that was a lull, 24, that was a lull. Came back in 23, 25. He really found it the second half of the year. So I think you could argue he's never really come here in good form for whatever reason.
Fair enough.
And like I mentioned, obviously it was tongue in cheek, but there are extracurriculars going on during those events. And Ricky's not one to turn down schmoozing. So he's a sponsor's delight. So he probably had his hands full off the golf course too.
And see, that is the inside info that we need here on Early Wedge. He's got
Condi.
Delight.
He's got Condi next to him this week. Come on.
Could have been the Browns coach. Great. That was a great reference earlier. And true story. Sia, you're also going top 20 market, but a lot more conservative than Patrick did.
Yeah, I play these. If you hadn't noticed, I play these really conservatively. I don't think, and this isn't a market I love, but because I've played it conservatively, I don't think I've lost in this market so far. I've evened out. I haven't won money every week, but again, I'm going to play it conservatively here as well. Russell Henley, top 20, not a guy I ever really bet to outright. But I think here, Russell Henley top 20 is a very comfy bet for me. And I think minus 110 is just fine. Ryan Gerard top 20 at plus 160 is interesting, because I was considering the top 30 at also a minus number. I think it was minus 105. trying to be super conservative there. I don't know what to do with Ryan Gerard. I don't think he has any experience here at Pebble. I'll go back and double check that in a second, but he's just playing so well. He's playing so well, and I don't really think course experience here is critical by any means. The approach play, the putter has been hot as of late. The ball striking is great. Top 20 at plus 160 seems like a pretty good number.
Guys, when I say this, I truly mean it. Two of my favorite articles to read every week. Patrick's on CBSSports.com previewing the golf tournament. Generally comes out, I believe, Tuesday mornings. And Jason Sobel's on BetMGM is phenomenal every week. I mean, I've been reading both of you guys for years, but Jason, you like to throw in some big shots with your picks, conservative play, risky play. You're throwing out a couple of interesting numbers here in this segment.
Yeah, so that said, I appreciate that, EC. That said, I love that Patrick and Sia, you guys went after top 20s. I think everyone has to remember, only 80 players in this field. The numbers don't really match up for diminished numbers, smaller numbers than they were, say, for top 20s at Phoenix last week when there were 120-something players in the field. Granted, we still have 80 better players in this field, so maybe you could say it's harder to finish in the top 20, but you're eliminating 45 players from last week, even if that's 4 or 5 players that might have snuck into the top 20 from guys who aren't here this week. That could make a huge difference. And so I think targeting that top 20 market, even though I didn't do it here, I'm chasing bigger numbers, but I do like that idea. I'm going Daniel Berger, number 1 in the field in iron play last week in Phoenix. When it's good for Berger, it's really good. When it's not good, it's really not good. Last year, first 12 starts, 9 top 25s. Last 10 starts, 0 top 25s. Get him while he's hot. He's hot right now. And so in a place where he's won before, won this one 4 or 5 years ago, I like Daniel Berger and Sepp Straka. I mentioned him already, but rounding into form and ball striking was very good on the weekend in Phoenix. The weather gets nasty on the weekend. I don't mind that either if I have Sepp Straka. So I like him in this market as well for a top 10.
So Sobel's a genius because I also like Daniel Berger, top 10 and top 20. I got my top 10 now. These are with ties. Top 10 at plus 385, top 20 at plus 158. Sobel got a lot better number than I did on that one.
Shop around. They're wildly different numbers in different books.
Yeah. So double check that. It gets Sobel's number, not mine. Regardless, this is a cool stat for Berger. His 4 career wins have all come on courses with small green sizes, 5,000 square feet and under. 2 at TPC Southwind, 1 at Colonial, and then 1, as Sobel mentioned, here at Pebble. He has finished, played here 3 times, top 10, all 3 times, but he hasn't played here since 2021. And he gained more than 9 strokes ball striking last week, as Sobel alluded to. So if that putter can work, watch out. And then how about Jake Knapp, guys? I mean, everybody's talking about Siwoo Kim and his ball striking, but Jake Knapp has been awesome this year. And he's number 1, by the way, in total putting this season. He has gained more than 3.5 shots on average in his last 9 events, dating back to the Rocket Classic. That's off the tee. I'm sorry. So he's killing it off the tee. He's killing it on the greens. It's what he can do in between is the key. But a top 20 at plus 114, I feel is pretty good value here. So as Sobel said, shop around for those lines. Nonetheless, there's a lot on this page. Hopefully I can turn it around because I've stunk here. Sobel, hopefully you can bring me some good karma with Daniel Berger here. You hit Pearson Coody last week, I believe at a little over 4-1 in this market. So is that right that I saw that you had Coody last week?
I definitely had Coody. I can't remember if it was top 10 or top 20. Did he squeeze inside the top 10? I thought he was just out of it.
He was right around it. We'll have to double check that. Nonetheless.
He was tied for 10th. Yeah, okay.
There you go. Perfect. Coming up next, we're going to have EC story time, live betting at the Phoenix Open. What could go wrong? After we hear from one of our sponsors.
When you need your sports news all the time,
We've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
So, as you can see, there's a new name at the bottom of the no bet list. Let me explain to you why Hideki Matsuyama will not win again this season.
Disrespectful.
So, on Thursday, I was, looking at what happened. Scotty Scheffler wasn't good. Chris Gotterup was top of the leaderboard. I had a large free bet that I had to use. So here was the ticket that I played. Hideki Matsuyama to win at like 6-1. The Seahawks money line. The under 52.5 in the Super Bowl, which was the alt under, added a touchdown onto that. and Michael Kim top 20 with ties. And that paid something like 13.5 to 1, something crazy like that. Okay, great. Michael Kim was one spot out of the top 20 and had a 35-footer on his 72nd hole at TPC Scottsdale. And what do you know? He hit it. So that top 20, we can check that, finished T18. And we knew that Seattle was going to win the game. Sia and I told you that on the show last week. There was no doubt about it.
I didn't say that.
You didn't? We said
I thought the Pats might win, to be fair.
Carry on, Patriots. Hand up.
No. We did. Thought we did. Okay, regardless.
Hand
up.
I
had the Seahawks. We knew that was going to happen. We knew the under was going to hit, especially the alt under. And so I'm standing on the 18th hole, behind kind of where Amanda Balionis is. Can't see a lot. Hideki Matsuyama. I'm thinking, all right, he's one stroke up. All he's got to do, hit 3-wood into the fairway, hit it onto the green, 2-putt, we're good. I'm going to win this bet. It paid a lot of money, okay? I'll tell you how much, and I also live bet him in a parlay on Sunday. How much would I have won if Hideki Matsuyama had won in total? Over $4,000.
Oh,
seriously.
No.
That is why Hideki Matsuyama is on this list. He may very well win again, but I will not bet him. I am done with Hideki Matsuyama after this week. Patrick?
I just think
thoughts?
It's disrespectful.
Sobel, any thoughts?
I don't like the idea, just like I don't like chasing bets. I don't like the idea of crossing guys off lists just because they did you harm when you had them. That said, I can kind of get behind the Hideki thing right now. That just didn't look good down the stretch.
This feels like EC, the Max Grazerman experience. Didn't you lose a similar amount?
Yeah. It was actually less on Grazerman. This was the most I've ever lost. Now, also, I needed more things to happen in the Super Bowl. I knew Seattle would win. The underline, that the alt under was fine. The underline did come into question. I think I did go 5-0 on SportsLine, so that's good. I had good. Yeah,
it was a free bet.
It was a $200 free bet. I seriously, it's a $200 free bet. I was like, we're gonna go heavy. This is my home tournament, so this is why, guys.
So you didn't lose
it. Listen, nothing was good that happened.
By the way,
and to what,
if you can see it, if you can see it on my phone, EC, this is what your list is reminding me of right now. Can you guys see that on my phone? The scene from Billy Madison where he's got the list. There you go.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, that's accurate.
Boy, I'm sure glad I called that guy.
This was one of the most painful things. And the worst part is I get to watch Hideki Matsuyama go over the bridge, and I watch, and I'm like, I know he's going to lose me money. You knew when he came back down the bridge that he was going to lose. I just didn't think he would hit in the water in the playoff. Okay, I'm done ranting. That's why Hideki's on this list. We will look at his name every week this year, and it will not be crossed out. He is not going to win again, including next week, where he is defending his title at Riviera. All right, now that I'm done with that, Patrick, again, we're back to Xander Schauffele. He is doing it down. He has let you down 2 weeks in a row, and you're back at it. This is really
this guy needs to take a break, so I stop losing money on him. It's just like I'm too far in. I'm too deep at this point. You just got to keep on digging, and hopefully you get out the other side. 30-1. Like that, Xander Schauffele with a 3 by his name. It's kind of like Scotty Scheffler with a 3 by his name. Scotty Scheffler opened at 3-1 this week. Probably should have just done that. But instead, I'm going to lose money on Xander Schauffele at a golf course where he's never finished inside the top 50 during a season where he's without a top 40. But I feel good. He'll play the weekend. And then Ben Griffin at 40-1. Honestly, guys, I had no idea what to do this week. For some reason, it just most weeks I sorta-ish have an idea, a good picture, guys I want to attack. This week it was tough. I looked at Victor a lot. Probably should have done that. Just couldn't get around to it. And I settled on Griffin at 40-1. Not really playing that poorly. As finished inside the top 30 at every tournament so far this week. Couple top 25s, I want to say, too. So I thought it was a decent price. So I went with it. That's really all, not a ton of analysis, not a ton of, this guy's playing great. More gut, if any.
And to spoil your article on CBSSports.com, you picked Scotty Scheffler to win.
Okay. Doing it every week.
But we're trying to get value in this segment. All right, Sobel.
Yeah.
Before you give your list here, I had Patrick Cantley on the do not bet list last year. I think he will win next week. Shane Lowry is forever a staple on this list, and Maverick McNeely is literally on the edge after what he did on Sunday, bogeying 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I've got Mav here, and Sia can attest to it because I was on CBS HQ with him over the weekend. I said, look, I'm playing Mav. This was on Saturday morning, I believe, Saturday early afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing Maverick McNeely live just because I've had him targeted for Pebble Beach for a while now, and I'm trying to essentially hedge myself. Because if he wins the week before I'm going to pick him and have planned to pick him, then I'm going to be a little mad about that. Thankfully, he went out and bogeyed the first 2 holes. He was never in it, so we didn't have to worry about that. But now I'm worried about him bouncing back, and I don't love the number. But look, this is one of those. I've had Maverick McNeely basically slotted here for at least a month now, ready for him to go out and play well. He's been playing well, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm less confident in that than I am in Patrick Cantlay at plus 4,000, which I think is a great number on a guy who's won before. It's been a while. We haven't seen a whole lot of winning tickets from Patrick Cantlay for a very long time now, but he's due. He plays really well at Pebble Beach. Just the stars should align for him. And then Shane Lowry, runner-up last year. Shane, very much like Russell Henley, and even if we add in the API victory last year, I've said about Russell for years now, his performance outweighs his results. He's like a major league pitcher who's 6-11 with a 2.57 ERA. You go, man, he's pitching really well. He just doesn't win games. He gets losses. They lose 2-1 every time he pitches, but the performance is really good. Shane Lowry, same thing. Shane Lowry, since he won the Open Championship nearly 7 full years ago, he's won the BMW PGA in 2022 and the Zurich when Rory essentially carried him 2 years ago. And that's it. He has no other wins. That said, he's played very good golf during that time. Shoulda, coulda, woulda won in Dubai just a few weeks ago. Rinsed one from a greenside bunker on the last hole, which still has to sting, and I'm sure he's frustrated by it. But if he can be patient, if he can get over that frustration of not winning, I think it's coming for Lowry.
No.
And something about that BMW PGA, too. It was shortened. Remember?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Long live the Queen.
Good point.
Sia, I love every week. I don't have any more to say.
No,
about
she passed away. That's why they shortened it.
Oh, is that right?
I did. I thought. Okay, my bad. I remember
guys,
that.
Come on.
I had no idea.
Come on, guys.
You're like an encyclopedia. Who remembers that? Sia, I love how you always play the winner without market. This is what you have to do. You and I always think on the same page. Let's see what you got this week.
Well, what I especially like about it is I don't think these numbers are bad, in spite of the fact that, I'm betting in them without Scotty market. Justin Rose right now, I mean, the way he's playing, and I guess it's a bit of a short sample size, but we saw tales of this late in 2025 as well. The way he's playing in his course history here, both when it was a signature event where he played great both times the last 2 years and winning it the year prior to that, I honestly think without Scotty, this number should be shorter than 23-1. I absolutely love this number. Tommy Fleetwood is different because we haven't seen him on the PGA Tour, of course. And when he was over on the European Tour, wasn't playing super well over the last, whatever it was, the last few weeks. But I still think Tommy Fleetwood is that same guy that now knows how to win and played really, really well last year. I think 23-1 again without Scotty is another good number. I think he and JJ Spawn, who's my next guy at 45-1, I think they can absolutely bounce back. Spawn has been pretty bad so far this year, but I think this is a pretty good course setup for him. His history here isn't particularly good. Neither is Fleetwood's, if I recall, but I think Spawn, he fits this course pretty well. I think the long iron play will come into play a little bit here. Spawn's great there. If the putter can just turn around, which we know it can for him, I think 45-1 is a great number. I think he's going to surprise some people. Go ahead, Sobel.
See, do we know about that withdrawal last week? That was a late Wednesday withdrawal. That was like 6 o'clock, 6:30 Eastern time when Spawn WD'd, and he lives out in the Scottsdale area. So that was a little weird to me.
It was, frankly, I don't have information on that, but I'm just going to assume that if he's in this tournament, he's in this tournament. But it's a good call out. And then Ryan Gerard, I already talked about him. I think anything close to 50-1, where I've got 49-1 here without Scotty, I think is a very fair number with a guy that has shown tremendous upside again in the without Scotty market.
Sia, before I give my picks for this segment, I want to apologize to you. You obviously invite me on Early Edge in the morning. I give out a parlay with a team that's 21-3 and they're down by 22 points in the first half. That is not a good sign for our money line parlay. So
is that Mason?
It's George Mason is getting
Walt.
Yeah, that's I just looked at that. Yeah, not so good.
Well,
Nonetheless, I'm going to
Larenega's got to whip him into shape this second half.
Wrong. I think he's retired now. But good memory though. That's good memory.
Didn't he go to like Miami after?
Miami? Yeah, he went to Miami. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick. See, Patrick knows these other sports too. He's got it.
I play dumb.
Yeah, I'm impressed. All right, Tommy Fleetwood was on the no bet list last year. So here's the thing. First of all, I'm playing the without Scotty and Rory markets on Fanatics. So it's about the same price or comparable. And of course, I like to parlay these with tennis or cricket or table tennis or
the Olympics. You got bobsledding and luge.
I'm
I mean, you got
not
a
doing
lot to choose from right now.
No, the biathlon's my favorite, Sobel. They ski and shoot. It's wonderful. I don't understand it. They have to go in loops. It makes no sense to me. But yes, I like to parlay with random things. It's Tommy Fleetwood. He hasn't been good. Sia gave all the reasons for him. The course history isn't there, but you know what? This is a new Tommy Fleetwood, and I had to show him some respect after he cost me a lot of money in the Tour Championship when I gave a 5-unit play on Scotty. Victor Hovland's my play this week. I talked about him earlier. This guy, I think, is going to finish second behind Scotty, so I feel pretty good about that. And how about Bob McIntyre? I think, like Patrick with Xander Schauffele, I'm going to pick Bob McIntyre just about every tournament. He just had a baby, so he hasn't been sleeping as much, presumably. That's not great. But listen, he's been awesome with the putter. Gained nearly 12 strokes putting over the last 4 events combined. It's kind of a boomer bust thing because he's great off the tee. He's great with the putter, and we don't know what the irons are going to do. He was T40 here last year, and he didn't putt well, but he's in better form. And the new baby, I mean, that whole thing, 30-1, yeah, in this market, yeah, I'll take a shot here. I'll be betting Bob McIntyre a lot here, so we'll go with that one. All right. Let's move on to long shots. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just throw it? McIntyre right now is my FOMO guy for the week. I did not list him in my preview this week. I didn't list him here on the show. He's the one guy that I'm looking at now. A couple days before the tournament, I'm like, I might have to add him to the card somewhere.
Yeah, I was surprised when I like to read across, your guys' columns and some others, and nobody mentioned Bob McIntyre. Nobody did. So that will be interesting. Listen, he could be a guy that finishes 60th, and I go, whoops. Or he could be a guy that contends for the win like he did in Hawaii. Who knows? Patrick, I mean, we know you can't quit Xander Schauffele, but Ricky Fowler here, come on. Even at 75, 750-1 wouldn't be a good enough number for him.
Wow.
I think this is a fair price, honestly. Guy's playing good golf. But good luck with your little parlays over there. Mister, I lost $4,000 on a free bet.
I know. I only look.
You know who they give free bets to, EC?
Oh, just something
Who's
to be said
that?
there.
No.
Guys like you.
It was a deposit match.
Uh-huh.
It was a deposit match for Super Bowl week. See ya.
The guy who just got done saying his 3-leg parlay missed from the early edge.
No.
Wonder why he's depositing more.
Come on. See ya. I have a 6-legger in the NBA today. I felt good about it. I feel good about it. Correlated parlays. That's what we do here. Okay, Sia, you're not parlaying Jacob Bridgman. You're also not betting $114 on him, I assume.
Yeah, I was going to make a $114 joke for like the insiders here on the early wedge. By the way, there was some criticism from Josh Mullinex, our esteemed producer in the chat. He said, hey, we've got basically like a 4-to-1 like to watch ratio, at least on YouTube. There's probably a lot more people watching us on Twitter. If you are, come over to the SportsLine YouTube channel, but let's get that like button hit. Really appreciate that. A couple people clocked in. They said, hey, I hit the like button. Jacob Bridgman. I don't have $114, but I do have a small little sprinkle on Jacob Bridgman. So again, this is in the without Scotty market. But the one thing about Bridgman is, first of all, I tend to not want to play him where you need to be really great off the tee. And I say that in spite of the fact that he actually has been really great off the tee over the last few tournaments. His ball striking has been great. But where I like to play him is when it comes down to approach, especially when long iron stuff is peppered in there, which again, it will be to some degree. I know this is a wedge course, but 200 plus 175 to 225 will be peppered in here. That's when I like to play him. And especially when I require a hot putter, if his iron game is clicking, he's great on POA too. He's a guy that can scare that leaderboard for all 4 days. Again, if the approach play is there, 98-1 without Scotty Scheffler.
I mean, I think he's worth a $14 bet, maybe a $28 bet. Just watch the digits. Listen, Bridgman has been great this year. Sia, you were all over that a few weeks ago. He had a really good season. He's going to win at some point before Hideki Matsuyama does. Sobel. I love this parlay. It's so great. I love seeing 110 to 1, 111 to 1. So great.
I love the idea of having a fat finger play of the week.
Actually, I kind of like that too. Somebody brought that up a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe we need to do that.
If you're going to hit an extra digit, here's who I like hitting an extra digit on this week.
Yes.
I'm basically taking all the guys that I like and throwing them in the top 20 parlay. I talked about top 20s earlier. Just have to finish in the top 25% of this field, only 80 players. So it shouldn't be that much of a difficult task. And yeah, I'm probably overdoing it with 5 players, but all the guys I like, I'm less confident on an outright this week and more confident in sort of everyone that I like playing pretty well and maybe finishing behind Scotty or Rory or something like that. But I like all these players. So I'm going to throw them in that top 20 parlay for a really nice return.
And I'm going to try and semi-redeem myself after Patrick just put me in a body bag earlier in this. Scotty Scheffler is going to win, and here's how we're going to make money on it. We're going to bet Jason Day and Daniel Berger to finish in the top 10. Jason Day, 7 of the last 10 times he's played here, been in the top 10, and Daniel Berger is 3 for 3 in the top 10. And with Scotty to win, you're getting plus 76.58. So that's a pretty good number. And then I'm going to play a scaled-down version of Sobel's top 20 parlay on my own. Tommy Fleetwood, Victor Hovland, Robert McIntyre, the 3 golfers I just gave out last segment. Jake Knapp, who I talked about earlier, and Andrew Novak, who has been kind of boom or bust this year, but he has 3 top 20s in his last 5, and in 2 appearances here, his last 2 here, T20, T13. So throw those 5, Fleetwood, Hovland, McIntyre, Knapp, Novak, plus 67.21 for top 20s with ties. I got to hit one this year. Otherwise,
what does the parlay pay for me and EC to both go 0 for 5 in our top 20 parlays?
We are not going 0 for 5.
We go 0 for 10 with those 10 guys.
It's minus 2,000 that you go 0 for in your parlays this week.
Look,
although some of them aren't like. So here's the thing about these: we talk about all these golfers, and we talk about them in this segment, but a lot of them we've talked about earlier in the show. People can pull like 2 or 3 names and make your own parlay if you want. I mean, that's part of the reason we're discussing this in the first place. I mean, I do these finishing position parlays too, so I'm pulling some from all years.
If you put our 10 guys together, you can buy a new house. If you put $100 on that, you can buy a new house if that hits.
And here's the thing about this. Remember 2 years ago when it was 54 holes and it was shortened?
Yeah.
And they were walking up the last, and everyone kind of knew, like, there's a potential here. A lot of people bet parlays on finishing positions of that leaderboard before that round was over.
Ooh.
And they cashed.
Yeah.
So who knows if it gets ugly on Sunday.
If you bet after that round, I think if I recall correctly, if you made the bet after the round, after round 3 finished, you didn't get paid out. But if you made it anytime before the round finished, to Patrick's point, you got paid out.
Exactly. So hopefully it gets biblical this weekend.
I'm trying to do the math.
That's a great tip. That's a great tip, Patrick. I mean, seriously, if you see, do a little due diligence. Look at I mean, after you put me in a body bag earlier in the segment. All right, let's go to one and done.
Hang on, EC. I've got some math here for you. I gotta.
Okay.
One more guy. I'm missing somebody.
Okay. Sobel's going to try to add up what 10 legs do.
It's probably Novak.
20. Yeah,
now I got Novak, Straka, Berger's one of my guys. I'm going
to guess. I'm going to guess this pays 50,000 to 1.
I've got
what do you say, Sia?
9. All right, I've got 9.
Is he putting all the names in a top 20?
He's going to put all of them in a top 10 parlay.
Top 20 parlay.
Top 20 parlay, yeah.
Who am I missing? Fleetwood, Hovland, McNeely, McIntyre, Cantlay, Knapp, Straka, Berger, Novak.
Shane Lowry.
There we go. It was one of my guys. I knew that.
Okay.
Okay, throw Lowry in here.
What's this pay? It's going to be a number that's too great to read on the air, I bet. You could buy a new house. People could buy a new house.
10-pick parlay plus 1195. So it's close to 12,000 to 1.
That's it?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, all right. Well, all right. So put 1,000 on it. You get 120,000. We all win. Great. Send us a tip, please, if that happens. All right. Let's go to one and done where I'm not in the top 25% right now. But hey, Sia, you and I are kind of we're in play here. We're 214 out of 7.25. So we're kind of around there. And now let's bring in producer Josh. Josh, we'll let you start it off here.
Josh.
Going with Cantlay this week. Interesting.
Yeah. It's a big pot event, and we know that Patrick Cantlay loves him a big purse event. So plays well here historically, but also doesn't have to play great to finish top 10. Last couple high finishes haven't been especially, inspiring from a performance perspective. T11 in 2024 and lost strokes off the tee and around the green, and then lost like 2.5 in approach in 2022 and finished T4. So it's a vibes week for Patrick Cantlay. Okay. He plays really well in a signature event after a high pressure week on the East Coast as well at Harbour Town. And I think there are some similarities between those two places. And I don't know, finish T2 and bank me 1.5 million, and we'll move on to next week because Josh, he's not going to win.
Yeah, Josh, he owes me money from 2 years ago at Riviera. He owes me money, and I will pick him next week, and he will pay me back.
I think he owes a lot of people money.
He owes me a lot.
I'm hoping that the wind will blow so hard on Sunday that he'll need to take off his hat and channel No Hat Pat from the 2023 Ryder Cup. I'm really banking on that. Shout out Mean Muggin, Joe LaCava, and the parking lot at Marco Simone.
Sobel, you got a donut last week, and you're going with a guy that really let Sia and I down on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm rethinking it. It may not stick. It's only Tuesday night. We'll see what happens by Thursday morning. I'm going with Maverick McNeely right now. I'm fairly confident I'll have more than $0 by next week, but not completely confident. So we'll see what happens. For right now, he's locked in.
One note about Mav. His father was on Squawk Box Monday morning and was discussing AI, one of his son's startups, trying to leverage the AI revolution. And then he talked about his two sons on the PGA Tour because his brother's caddying for him. And then he just slips in, should have gotten picked for the Ryder Cup, just completely snapped.
Didn't deserve it after costing Sia and I on Sunday.
Can he turn Mav into AI on the golf course?
I don't know. We'll see. I'll tell you this much. The old man was still rocking the Under Armour, so he doesn't have the Viore shipment yet from Mav.
Yeah. Patrick, Ben Griffin. You're not saving Ben Griffin for later in the year.
No. Once again, I had no idea what to do, so that feels like a Ben Griffin spot for me.
See, I'm a little worried. This is where you take control and then you go bye-bye to the rest of us like you did last year.
I hope so. But what's so interesting is that the next couple of weeks are going to shift everything. I want to give a shout out to Jen in the chat because she is number 2 on this leaderboard. And for the record, she's not even a golf girl, but because of the one and done contest, like so many others that enjoy one and done, she's now invested. And she's again, number 2 here because she had got her up. This is a 3.6. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might have the math wrong. I think this is 3.6 million to first place, 2 million to second, about 1 million to third. And then we've got a signature event next week as well. This leaderboard, these next 2 picks for really everybody are going to be really important. And I don't think there's many playing better than Justin Rose. And I don't think there's many that have the course history that Justin Rose has. And frankly, I don't really see myself playing Justin Rose later in the year. In other words, I don't feel like I'm ever going to think 2 months from now, oh man, I wish I had Justin Rose to use. He'll probably be somewhat popular. I haven't really looked at ownership on one and done, but I think this is just a perfect time to play Justin Rose. I'll take the 3.6 mil.
I gave that. No, you're not. Well, you'll get a nice number there because he's playing well. But I will get close to 3.6. No, actually, no, I'm not. Scotty Scheffler's going to win, but I wouldn't waste Scotty Scheffler here saving for the players because he'll win there next month. I'm going Victor Hovland. We've talked about him. I gave it out on the early edge. Zach from the chat is all over it. Victor Hovland. We're rolling with it here. Mitchell Smith. I know you destroyed me in the one and done last year. You need some help. Victor's a good way to get back in it. We're going to make some money this week. And then we're going to pick Patrick Cantlay next week, and we're going to make more money, and we're going to be feeling good in the top 25%, so nobody can come up with any cruel punishment for me. How about that? Guys, one person we haven't talked about, one golfer that we haven't talked about at all, and I'm going to ask you about him, Josh, is Rory McIlroy. Do you like him this week or no?
Sure. It's Rory McIlroy at a golf course.
He won here.
He's won at.
Yeah, he won here last year.
So do I like Rory McIlroy? Wherever he's sticking a tee in the ground, I like Rory McIlroy. So do I think he'll win? Probably not. It's not like he had an incredible start to the year on the DP World Tour, but if he won, I would not be surprised.
Patrick,
Got
your thoughts
stats
on
for
Rory?
you. Oh,
Go.
go ahead.
Yeah, stats. Go. Yes, please.
15 career starts to start a year on the PGA Tour, and U.S.-based events. Obviously, he always starts in the Middle East swing on the DP World Tour. 1 win in those starts was last year. 4 top 5, 6 top 10s, 5 outside the top 30. He usually kind of eases his way in. Last year was different, and maybe it's a new Rory, and maybe something's different about it, but he usually doesn't come over here and all of a sudden start playing his best golf.
I will say from a betting standpoint, Roy's really interesting now that Scotty has like asserted himself so much that, we're looking at him like sub plus 300. And the gap between Scotty and Roy here is bigger than I think it has been most of last year, where you see Scotty at plus around 300. You see Roy McIlroy at around plus 1,300. And frankly, if you took the without Scotty market on Roy McIlroy, it still would be 10 to 11 to 1. Which again, you don't even see that number for Rory in signature events or in majors in the with Scotty market. So it's just a really interesting time to consider Roy McIlroy. I'm not considering it, but I also don't think you're getting much of a better number this week than you would the rest of the year.
I'll say this. He's
Yeah,
back to his blades. He threw the cavity backs in the trash. So obviously didn't love them, didn't like how he was feeling. I think he said his entire career he's had a hold off finish while in competition with the cavity backs. It felt like he kind of had to roll over a little bit, and he didn't like that when he played those 8 rounds in Dubai. So take that for what it's worth. Blades are back in the bag.
At least he's not going to PXG. So look on the bright side.
Another miscut for PXG Penge, by the way. Another one.
Yes, another one. Yep, you guys called that one. One other guy we didn't talk about, Sia. I'll give this one to you. Siwoo Kim. Guy, has been on fire. The ball striking has been incredible. Would you fault anyone who rides with Siwoo Kim playing for the 5th straight week? Does that concern you, even though he's on an absolute tear?
No, it doesn't concern me. You're talking to a guy that never really bets Siwoo Kim, but there's very few that are playing better than him right now. So, I wouldn't fault anybody. I will say that now we're at a signature event. Like, I think looking at some of the players that we were leaning on, even like Ryan Gerard, who I like as a semi long shot, now you have all the players back for the most part. And so I do think some of those, even like the Daniel Berger types, I feel like some of those guys, now that they're up against this competition, it's a slightly different analysis. And I put Siwoo Kim in that bucket as well.
Coming up tomorrow morning on the Early Edge, Sia is going to give out some FRL picks because, of course, they're going to post the lines right after we get off the air here because that always happens that way. Guys, another great show. Josh, great job on the 1s and 2s. For Patrick McDonald, Sia Nejad, and Jason Sobel, I'm Eric Cohen. As I always like to say, let's hit it big. Good luck.